Hi, I got a beer that it's a style I don't really drink much. Grapefruit IPA, but like not one with real fruit in it. You know, it's probably kind of a grapefruit sculpin type thing where they add ruby red grapefruit, natural flavors, whatever that means. It says gets the tropical fruit flavors from the zest of ruby red grapefruit. So maybe it's just zest. I don't know. But it's Cisco Brewers Gripah grapefruit. They've been making this for only a couple years, I think now. They're originally Nantucket, but this is made in Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Back in the day, Cisco used to actually make a lot of really good barrel-aged sours that were, beyond what most American brewers were doing, especially in New England. They were doing like experimental saisons, but then a couple years ago, they're completely bought out. Craft Brew Alliance is who's owned them, and then they were merged or had some deal with Anheuser-Busch 2 years ago. So that seemed like that's when they stopped making anything, and they kind of focused on more of your generic craft beers. Their Grey Lady White Ale is a pretty good seller, along with their Whale's Tail Pale Ale. Those are some ones that have been around probably since the 90s. Well, let's just get to this one. It's only 5.5% alcohol. It's almost 3 months old, but I think this is the kind of beer that's supposed to be okay at that age, and maybe it was refrigerated for most of it. And it uses Citra, Amarillo, Galaxy, and Eldorado, so sexy hops, because, any brewer can get these hops now. Citra accounts for a huge amount of the hops grown, in the world, and most of the hops almost grown in America. So I'm assuming this is not going to be hazy. Just a little bit of haze, and my glass is all fogged up. Let me see, there are tiny, tiny particulates in there. Let's just get it all here. And I'm hoping it's refreshing. It's super pale. And there wasn't really a sediment that formed at all. The head looks, pretty standard head. Grapefruit, that's what I'm getting. Yep, definitely. And I'm not really getting much old hop flavor, but there's just a little bit of an earthy pine resin. It's kind of lost its tropical notes, but it smells pretty nice, clean citrus, I guess. But it does smell like it's going to be refreshing. Not too bitter, not too sweet. We'll see. It's a little different from Sculpin. You could almost call it a session IPA. Very low in bitterness, but almost a hint of acidity, maybe. And it's pretty refreshing. It's what I want right now. The body isn't watery, but there's not that much to it. Now I'm noticing a little bit more sweetness. I don't know if it's a hint of caramely malt, because this is very pale, but I guess there's just a tinge of golden in there, so maybe there was a touch of crystal. Just giving it a teeny bit of caramel. And I wonder if I would notice that less if it were very fresh. Hopefully it doesn't get too sweet, because it seems like it might be a little bit sweet. I'm betting there's some wheat in here too that might be helping to give it a little bit of a tartness. They do say our brewers are getting a grip on the perfect balance between sweet and tart. It does have a little bit of that going on, which I'm enjoying. This is probably this sort of thing that is pretty popular in the summertime. If you want something that is kind of packs in a lot of Sculpin-like flavors, but it's a much smaller beer and lower bitterness and a little bit tart. That's not bad. I'm considering mixing this with some of the other double IPAs I have that I'm just not in the mood to drink right now because it's just super hot and I need something like this. There's not much wrong with this. And I would not guess it's 3 months old probably if you gave this to me blind. It probably deserves 3.75 or so. Yeah, I usually avoid these kinds of beers, but there is a time and place for them, especially these lower alcohol ones. I'm really into that. It's definitely quite hoppy too. It's got a lot of hop kick to it. I'm not noticing specific notes of like galaxy greenness, but there is a lingering hoppiness that, you know, is pretty satisfying. But they all are kind of just supporting this grapefruit zest, and it does have that juicy, sweet ruby red grapefruit thing. It's pretty nice. And it doesn't dissolve into pithiness. It keeps that nice grapefruit flavor. So yeah, it's worth it. Especially, I just grabbed like a variety pack that was super cheap because I happen to like their lager, Sanctity Light. It's one of the best light lagers I think out there. And I'll probably review the Grey Lady because I've been getting into Belgian whites this year and I haven't had Grey Lady in a while. So that's it. Bye.